This is the 1-year reading for Ethereum for the year of 2022. Current price, the current date is January 6th, 2022. The current price as of roughly 6 p.m., I think, is 32.03 and 88 cents. And we're going to do an updated version of the 1-year spread. I'm updating it. All right, the overall behavior and theme for the year for Ethereum is going to be, it's going to do some back and forth behavior through a price level, like an M shape through a price level. There's an unexpected failure, something that I guess you could call them Ethereum fans or holders of Ethereum, something that they expect and are counting on to take place this year will surprise not happen, and that will create a decline through support. That's Ethereum, guys. We're going to cross that with, yes, okay, so it bumps up along a resistance, and then it starts to decline, and as it declines, there's lower lows and lower highs. And those lower highs are meeting moving averages that are in bearish formation, and the moving averages are acting as resistance for wow, something crazy just happened. They're acting as resistance on the way down. There's like spikes up to them, and that's the lower highs happening. All right, there's a huge opportunity to cash in around the high this year. There's going to be bullish rotation with an increasing increasing bullish tone and momentum around and moving into the high. Behavior around the year's low or lows are going to form after bumping up against resistance. We'll be doing like a bumping up against resistance breakthrough, bump up against another one kind of deal. Somewhere around that kind of behavior will be at least one of the year's major lows. All right, and so these clusters of 4 cards each represent a month. Excuse me, I put a 5th card down when I see prudence. All right, so early January, late January, January's high, January's low. This is just an extra card so that I can understand the prudence card better. But we have a push higher in early January in the face of seemingly overwhelming headwinds. We still move higher, possibly even break through resistance. There is significant selling, profit taking off of the high in January. We'll be in some overbought territory, some significantly overbought territory. Behavior into the low. There's going to be a fast sudden move higher in a period of bullish behavior that quickly turns into a breakdown through a diagonal support level, or excuse me, a diagonal trend line. And after it breaks down through that, on its way down further, volatility picks up. All right, then we have February, early February, and that big move higher within a period of, leading to a period of volatility, looks like it's towards the end of the month. Okay, so early February, late February, February's high, February's low. All right, so there's a flight to safety in early February. The end of a bullish trend at the end of the month. At the end of the month, there's an end of a bullish trend. It completes. Behavior around the low is going to be out of bullish rotations. We increase significantly in our bullish momentum. Out of the low and pushing out of February, big move to the upside. Yes, and that is the end of February is the completion of a rally on opportunity to cash in, because early March is a correction. The high for March is in early March. Yes, and then around the low, I'm going to put another card in here. I'm just going to put that there because that's like, these are combined, guys. Okay, so a sharp decline off of a peak through a very significant support level. Actually, it looks like a breakdown through the last major support level that was created when we broke out through it. So it was like the high, we've gone much higher, and now we're going to break down through that previous high that we had for a while where there was resistance. We're going to break down through that. The low for March is an opportunity to play both sides of the market if you can, protect yourself somehow. And purchase, because towards the end of March, there's a big push to the upside. That push to the upside continues in April. There's a breakout near to the high in April. And then from that breakout, we have a sharp decline. So we break out, but then we turn around and we fall through more support levels than we broke through. And into the low, we have a breakdown through a support to meet a second support level, and then we bounce along that one for a while, and then we break down through that, and then continue breaking down through multiple support levels into the end of the month. That's April, guys. That's April for Ethereum. That decline continues in May. Oof. Not looking good for Ethereum in May. Okay, so that decline from the end of April continues through May. Sharp decline continues into late May. I mean, it's a big failure here, guys. A big, big failure right here. Behavior around the high for May is going to be a move higher along a diagonal trend line. We break through a resistance, meet a second resistance, then we pull back somewhere between those, and we end up between those price levels. That's where the high forms. Behavior around the low actually marks an opportunity to open some long positions. A lot of cards. All right, then we have that push. Okay. Okay, so it looks like from May into June, so that sharp decline through that market failure into the end of May, and then the low, we have that opportunity to open some long positions. That's the beginning of, we have that move higher in the beginning of June. And so that's a major low. And we have June's high within close proximity to a major low there. We revisit a previous support level here at the low for June, and late June we have 3 failed attempts to break through a key resistance followed by a sharp decline out of that third failed attempt. They're like 3 spikes through the same price level. July, we may have a new high here. I'll have to look at the ESO metadata. Guys, you can check out the pattern recognition portion where actually time like local highs, local lows, all that stuff, and major highs, major lows, trade opportunities. I narrow them down to specific parts of the month. And that's the second portion of this reading. It took me 22 years to figure out how to do that. Nobody else knows how to do it. Unless they get the book and read that. It's about to come out, guys. All right, so July, very notable high in early July. We have bullish rotation around the high in July. We may have formed that in the midst of some positive economic data. We have some price swings, some bearish price swings, slightly bearish price swings, I should say, around the low for July. There's also something environmental going on in July, something environmental, climate change related even in July, and we attempt to establish or reestablish support in late July. August, significant price level. The truce card is a significator for significant price level. August, we meet that significant price level, and that creates we revisit that significant price level in July and August. All right, and so there's a trade opportunity to sell, to cash in around the high in August. And that'll be likely the same. It'll be the same price level as June. That's what it is. The high in August. This price level will be revisiting the resistance that was created by this around early July, and that's an opportunity to sell. There's a sharp decline to meet the low. Looks like we're near overbought territory towards the end of August, and we sell off sharply from that to meet the low. Early September, late September, September's high, September's low. So we have a sharp dip, with a fast, sudden, sharp dip within a period of volatility in early September. Decline through multiple support levels out of the high in September, and we have some erratic back and forth behavior, back and forth above and below the same price level. Erratically, that's the behavior around the low for September. And then a male leader, the President of the United States, is highlighted here towards the end of towards the end of September. All right, we have a big push from that in early October. We revisit a price level. Very likely they could be the same price levels based on they're so closely related. The two of Swords and the Four of Swords. The Power card also represents support. So these cards are resistance significators. A Power card is a support, as well as the Ace of Discs card. Those are support significators. All right, so yes, the low in early, it looks like the low in early October, we have a sharp move to the upside out of that, a big, powerful one. We create a higher high. And we meet that resistance level. And there's a lot of scary stuff going on, but we go from a notable support to a notable, like we go straight from one support to a resistance, like two major ones in the end of the month, from the low to meet the high. All right, so we have a fast sudden move higher in early November. We are range bound. The upper end of a range we meet at the high of November. There's multiple failed attempts to break through that key resistance level into the end of November, and we have a selling off. We pop up through a peak, or pop up through resistance, and then break down shortly afterwards through that same price level to create, and from that kind of pop up through the price level and then down, that down takes us to meet the low for the month of November. We have for December, oof. Oof. Okay, so in December we have, there's a drop in December, guys. There's a sharp drop here in December. I feel it. There's a sharp drop. And we revisit a very notable support level. The Knight of Discs is the most prominent of the, well, Ace or Knight of Discs is the most prominent significator for support level. The Ace of Wands opportunity as well. There's a big push. It's like an upside down J kind of formation on a chart. It pushes higher, then it comes back maybe a little bit more than if it was an upside down J. Sometimes it comes all the way back, but generally speaking, it's like an upside down J-ish. With the shorter side being a little bit longer than a J. And we sell down through a support, then back up to bounce along that support. So we sell in early December, we sell down to a support, through that support, then back up above that that same price level, and at that same price level acts as support. Sharp move to the downside, very notable move to the downside to meet the low, and towards the end of the month, it looks like we have a very significant major support level that we revisit. Okay, and this is where I modified the spread a bit. So this would be the local highs. Behavior around local highs. There's going to be a push up through, breaking through resistance level and successfully creating new support around the local highs. Behavior around the local lows. There's going to be a lot of volatility. We'll meet a resistance and then we'll break down with tons of volatility to meet the local lows. We also have 4 trade cards. I think from moving forward, I'm only going to do 2. But we have a trade opportunity, at least one trade opportunity around that peak higher and then back down. It looks like that's probably going to be, and again, I need to do the ESO meta analysis before I could tell you with certainty, but it looks like that, where is it? It looks like that trade opportunity is probably over here in December somewhere. But it's a peak up through a resistance, and then shortly thereafter we break down through it, creating a peak. That's one trade, at least one trade opportunity. There's a U-shaped dip that forms between 2 perpendicular diagonal trend lines, and those trend lines, they're perpendicular, they intersect, and they're diagonal, and there's like a U-shaped formation, U-shaped dip that forms near there. Significant volatility creates a lot of opportunities. I'd say that goes with this Ace of Wands around a lot of local lows. And then a trade opportunity, we have a J-shaped dip. J-shaped dips that'll create opportunity sometime this year as well. All right, guys, so look out for that opportunity to sell. It looks like late February, late February or early May. Excuse me, late February or early March. There's a trade opportunity where I'll sell Ethereum. Opportunity to buy in May. At the low in May, and then an opportunity to sell somewhere around July, August. All right, guys, hopefully this helps. Let me know what you do with it. Let me know how you do. If you figure out some sort of strategy or you have some plan that you're gonna enact based on this information, I'd love to hear about it. You have to be crazy mofo to trade based on tarot cards. We'll put it that way. I don't recommend it. It took me 22 years to figure it out. But with that said, guys, use it in tandem with tarot, with technical analysis, and it'll be very beneficial. At least it is for me. All right, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, ask me questions. Go to the website, tarotfortraders.com. There's a ton of other stuff you can check out there. Or check out our YouTube, check out our TikTok. Our Facebook, our Instagram. Guys, we got a ton of stuff. Go check it out. There's even a Twitter. You get up on the Twitter and you'll get live tweets whenever I go live on YouTube. So you'll always know if there's like an update trading, you'll get a tweet that'll tell you, hey, I'm recording live on YouTube. I can't think of a better way to go about getting the best up-to-date info. Oh, and don't forget to check out the second portion of this reading, guys. Don't forget to check out the second portion of this reading. These readings are 2 parts. The first part is really like classical, the way that like a classical tarot reader, cartomancer would read tarot cards, although with my own information based on the tarot, based on stock market. But it's read based on the pictorial representations. The other way, the way that I developed is a form of pattern recognition. It's meta pattern recognition, and it allows me to determine the local highs, the local lows, the major highs, the major lows, all that stuff throughout a year, throughout a month, throughout a day. Does not matter. It could be any stock, any year, any time. It works the same way because it's meta pattern recognition. Those patterns are infinite. Meta pattern recognition. Finding a small pattern through synchronicity that relates. It gives you a picture of the bigger pattern, and that's how you go about meta pattern recognition, or ESO meta analysis, my friends. I'll see you all later.